Imagine walking down a city street when suddenly you witness an act of corruption. A driver slips cash into a police officer's hand to avoid a ticket. In that moment, you face a dilemma. Would you speak up or just walk away? This dilemma is at the heart of a study by Guerra and Zuravleva, published in the Journal of Economic Behavior and Organization in 2021. They asked, do bystanders react against bribery, and if so, under which conditions? This question matters because if individuals accept or ignore corrupt acts, they are also more likely to justify or even engage in similar behavior. This tolerance for corruption allows corruptions to spread, generating private benefits for a few people, while creating huge negative consequences for the whole society. And as corruption becomes more common, the risk is that it becomes normal, business as usual, something accepted rather than punished. To address these questions, the authors used an experiment with a bribery game. The experimental methodology is crucial because it allows researchers for establishing causal relationships rather than just correlations. With observational data, such as real-world cases of corruption, it's really challenging, if not impossible, to disentangle the factors influencing bystanders' behavior from the surrounding circumstances. Experiments instead allows researchers to control for specific variables. In this case, we will see the personal benefits from corruption and the negative impact on society, manipulating each of them exogenously, one at a time, and observing how these changes affect bystanders' behavior in this case. This approach ensures that participants' reactions are due to and only to the experimental variables, not to any other factor. So the authors conducted a lab experiment in a form of a modified bribery game. The standard bribery game simulates a situation in which a citizen could bribe a public official who can accept or reject the bribe. If the bribe is accepted, then private gains to both the citizen and the official are yielded. But the whole society is made worse off. Those other members of society are idle victims. They suffer a loss for every bribe that is exchanged. The authors of the paper introduced two important novelties to the standard bribery game. First, an additional player, the monitor, who acts as a third-party punisher, who is neither directly involved in the corrupt act nor affected by it, but have the option to speak up, to intervene by punishing the corrupt actors. This is crucial. Punishing is costly for the monitor, effort, time, but it creates a greater loss for the corrupt actors, who lose double the money the monitor spends. So the monitor's role in the experiment mimics the dilemma faced by us, by real people who witness corruption and must weigh the personal cost of intervention in terms of effort, our time, against a broader sense of social responsibility. Second novelty, the authors manipulated two key dimensions of bribery: the private gains for the corrupt actors and the negative externality imposed by corruption on the whole society. The experiment was in the form of a 2x2 between subject design, and as can be seen on this figure, both the private gains and the negative externality were either low or high. Results. The study found that bystanders punished corruption about half of the cases, especially when corrupt actors gained high benefits. But if corruption created greater benefits to others more than themselves, bystanders were less inclined to act. So this demonstrated that higher benefits received by corrupt actors relative to the bystanders' own payoff increased the likelihood of punishment. So bystanders were motivated to even the playing field by punishing corrupt actors to reduce the gap between their own payoff and the inflated benefits of those who engaged in corruption. Instead, greater negative impact on other members of society did not significantly increase the punishment behavior. So bystanders seemed more concerned with their own relative ranking compared to the corrupt actors than with the harm done to the others in society, suggesting that their motivation was driven by so-called self-focused inequity aversion, rather than a broader sense of social justice. Now, these results offer valuable insights for policy, suggesting that measures aimed at reducing the benefits of corrupt actions or increasing transparency to mitigate the payoff imbalances could potentially motivate a greater public accountability and reduce tolerance for corruption. These results are intriguing, but there's so much more left on the table. Future studies could take this experiment beyond the lab to test these reactions in a natural setting or with a more diverse set of scenarios. Also, what about the emotional side? Our reactions to corruption might be driven by feelings like anger or even guilt. Exploring these emotional drivers could give us a clearer understanding of why some people step up while others just walk away. So there's plenty more to understand here. If anything, these studies shows us that fighting corruption isn't just about rules. It's about social ranking, self-centered inequity aversion, and also a little bit of personal pride. There's a lot more to do to understand and hopefully reduce everyday corruption. Among others, here's a question for us. Are women less tolerant of corruption than men? We'll see the answer in the next episode. Don't miss it.